Have you ever had to admit you were wrong about something? Well, today is one of those days for me. And what was I wrong about? Well, it's this deck that you see on screen right now. I had previewed some upcoming commanders that I had said I was going to do previews for, and Saheeli Filigree Master was one of them. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the case for this particular video, but I am going to show you guys the deck that I had started with. This is the base of the deck I had started with, and this just did not work. I don't know what I did with it wrong. I don't know if I just don't have enough removal in it or what it is, but Saheeli died way too often, didn't get to do anything really impactful for her mana cost. I never really got any of the big threats out. This was built as a way to cheapen up artifacts of large size and then slam down like Skitterbeam battalions on the cheap and Cityscape levelers and all that kind of stuff. And it has like the affinity for artifacts, creatures, and those kind of things. And it just never worked out. And then on top of that, I think part of it's the theme is also kind of a little scatterball. I do have a little bit of proliferate in here too to kind of get the Saheelis up on their counters, plus put counters on things like the Hangerback Walker and things like that. And I don't know if it lacks focus or what. So I tore the deck down yesterday. I just completely blew it up and started over using some of the elements that I liked. What did I like? Well, I liked the Thopter theme with the tokens. So instead, this deck has now transformed into a BRUDICLAD deck. So here it is. This is my brand new BRUDICLAD deck called Art and Artifice Reborn. I took the base elements out of the original deck that I started with and leaned hard into the token themes, and we put BRUDICLAD in front. So those who don't know what he does, let's take a look here. This is BRUDICLAD Telcore Engineer for 4, a blue, and a red. You get a 4/4 Phyrexian Artificer that has creature tokens you control have haste, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 2/1 Phyrexian Mirror Artifact creature token, and then you may choose a token you control. If you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. So whatever tokens you have lying around, if you have a bunch of Thopters laying around, or constructs, or servos, or whatever that you have availability of, we can turn them into this. And we have a few options in the deck, and we'll discuss them as we move along. So let's take a look at the rest of the deck. First column here, we have Mana Rocks. Mana Rocks just make the world go round in this deck. BRUDICLAD is expensive, so we need to get him online as quickly as possible, and it also helps if somebody's just going to blow him up right away, so we can get him back online a little bit quicker than just waiting on our lands to get back up. Second column, we have a bunch of card drawing spells, things that allow us to dig through our deck a little bit deeper. The third column is things that spit out tokens in this deck. So we have a wide array of things that give us tokens of varying degrees. Have Gleeful Demolition from Phyrexian LB1. We can blow up one of our treasure tokens or whatever and create Phyrexian Goblins. The idea here is to make those into the goblins and then turn them with BRUDICLAD into 2/1 mirrors or constructs or Thopters or something, a little bit better than just a base 1/1 creature. Retrofitter Foundry, we can pay 2 and tap it, create a servo. We can pay 1 and tap it, sack a servo to create a Thopter, or just tap it and sack a Thopter to create a 4/4 colorless construct. So we have some options, and there are other Thopters in the deck that are non-token. So if we have one of those laying around, we can just plop this down, tap it, and boom, there's a 4/4. We have Sokenzan Smelter. You can pay 1 and sacrifice it at the beginning of your combat and create sacrifice an artifact, and you get a 3/1 construct, and you can turn your other stuff into 3/1 constructs. We have Third Path Iconoclast. Non-creature spells trigger this to create colorless artifact soldier tokens. We can turn them into something. Chrome Host Seed Shark. Non-creature spell, you incubate X and create the incubator token with the counters on it. Now the cool part here is if you turn them into a different creature type, they keep their counters. So if you have a Thopter and you go, okay, I'll make all my incubators into Thopters, they become base 1/1s with whatever amount of counters were on the incubator. So that's a lot of fun to pay attention to. Master Thopterist, you play artifact spells, you get more Thopters. Fable the Mirror Breaker makes a goblin token for us, and it also creates a token copy of something on the backside if we want to use that later. That comes in handy. Saheeli Sublime Artificer. Non-creature spells create servo tokens for us to transform. Urge's Command. This one's very good. It creates a construct artifact that is power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts we control. So if you turn a bunch of Thopters or a bunch of servos into these kind of constructs, they all look at each other and go, hey, I'm going to get bigger. And they just turn into massive threats at that point. Whirler Rogue creates Thopter's Force and makes it so we can make something unblockable if we tap 2 untapped artifacts. Saheeli, Filigree Master, she couldn't cut it as the commander for us, but she's in here because she creates Thopters for us. She also lets us draw cards, and if you get to the 4 and then you -4 her, you get to +1/+1 all of your stuff. So all the little 1/1s we're creating, we can make into 2/2s by creating the Anthem effect off of this Saheeli. Scion of Urza, this is another one of those ones where we want to create the construct tokens because they look at the artifacts we control and get bigger, and we can use that to clone out on our other tokens and make them huge. Spell Swindle, oh my god, it's a counterspell. I bitch about counterspells all the time. But I have a copy of this here because it creates treasure tokens. BRUDICLAD doesn't care what kind of tokens they are. As long as it's a token, you can transform those into more things. So if you spell swindle somebody's 6-drop, you get 6 treasures, and then next turn BRUDICLAD goes, I'll make all 6 of those treasures into Thopters. All of a sudden you have 6 power coming at their heads. And we also have Maverick Thopterist. It's an improvise, which means you tap artifacts to pay its colorless cost, and then you can pump it down and put 2 Thopters into play along with its 2/2 body. Shark Typhoon. Non-creature spells create shark tokens. So when in doubt and we have nothing else we can do, we can start transforming our stuff into shark tokens. And they look at the power of whatever one you've selected, and that's the power the tokens will copy. And then we have Sharding Sphinx. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage, create a blue Thopter. So more Thopters basically beget more Thopters. So if you hit with 3 Thopters, you're going to get 3 more Thopters, and it just snowballs out of control if this gets to sit around long enough. Brass's Bounty, big burst of treasure tokens. You just blast this off, and you're getting at least, unless you're mana ramping into it, at least 6 to 7 tokens off of this. Just boom, there we go. And then you just turn those into something with BRUDICLAD and go to town. We also have Ovika Enigma Goliath. 6/6 ward 3, pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature, X Phyrexian Goblin tokens with haste, and it's equal to the mana value of the spell. So it doesn't matter if they counter that spell, you're still going to get those Phyrexian Goblins. And then if BRUDICLAD's around, you can go, okay, they're all Thopters now, or they're all constructs now, and they still maintain their haste because BRUDICLAD's giving them the haste anyways. So it's just like smash, you just crash through. And then we have Hangerback Walker. It comes in with X counters on it, and if it dies, you create that many Thopters, and then you can add counters to it as you go along. We also have a little bit of that Proliferate, which will also help us get some counters on there. So these are the token generators of the deck. And then we have things that just get better with artifacts basically being laying around. We have the brand new Invasion of Kaladesh. It's a blue-red invasion, enters the battlefield, you create a Thopter. Real simple. 4 defense counters on it. But if you get it to flip, it turns into an artifact vehicle with a crew of 1 with flying that's called Aetherwing Golden Scale Flagship, and its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. So you can get this thing up into 8, 9, 10 power really easily. So remember Brass's Bounty and Spell Swindle? Those also have the advantage of just being like, okay, I'll just give a huge burst to one of these things that are sitting over here like Aetherwing. We also have Nettle Cyst, which basically turns any one of our creatures into an Aetherwing by giving it +1/+1 for each artifact or enchantment we control. Shambling Suit, equal to the number of artifacts and enchantments, that it just gets big on its own. And Filigree Attendant, same thing. Number of artifacts we control is its power. So don't forget to kind of balance out your power and toughness of these things against, okay, I got to use these treasures to pay for something, but you might want to swing before you do that, because otherwise you might reduce the damage that you could have done in the process. And then we have just our basic artifacts that go in the deck. Ornithopter, Combat Courier. I added Bowmat Courier to this pile because I didn't have it in the original build. This actually works out pretty good because it gets really big with some stuff going on in the deck. You get a lot of cards off of it. If they try to blow it up, you just pay, discard your hand, and then put those cards in your hand. Surge Engine, you pay a blue and you just get a 3/2 unblockable. I mean, that alone is just really nice. And then you can make it a little bit bigger, and then you can draw cards later if you ever get that far into the game. I have not done so yet. Patchwork Automaton, every time we cast an artifact, it gets bigger and it has ward. So it's just a nice little threat. Steel Overseer, let's make all these little tokens into bigger tokens. Throne of the God Pharaoh. If we're attacking and they can't kill the Thopters or whatever, this is just going to keep blasting away extra damage. So you can plop this down, swing with a couple Thopters, and instead of taking the 2 damage, you're going to take 4 because you're going to lose an additional 2 at the end of the turn. Brea's Apprentice creates a Thopter for us, but then it also has abilities to pump our stuff by sacking an artifact or exiling the top card, and we can play that until the end of the next turn. Chief of the Foundry, other artifact creatures you control get +1/+1. It's just a good little mini buff, and there's actually a thing in the footage where I got to clone this, and it got to do some really dumb stuff with it, so you have to watch for that. Liberator Urza's Battlethopter flashes in. Colorless spells and artifact spells can flash in, so that's nice. You get to flash your stuff in response or at the end of their turn to kind of help protect it from mass removal and stuff like that. And then whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana is higher than the power of this thing, you put a counter on it. Really good. Sculpting Steel, clone any artifact. That's it. Just pay 3, boom, my artifact is an additional copy of this. And there's several artifacts here we would love to copy. Solemn Simulacrum, just real basic, go get a land for us, and then if it dies, draw a card. And then we have things that get, like, kind of synergize with what we're doing here. We have Dragon Spark Reactor. Whenever it or another artifact comes into play, you put a charge counter on this, and then you pay 4 and sack it, and you can blast somebody in the face for a bunch of damage. Reckless Fireweaver, every time an artifact enters the battlefield, ping your opponent. This thing is really good, especially with all of the treasure generation stuff. So like if you spell swindle a spell or you Brass's Bounty, this thing can do a huge burst of damage all of a sudden out of nowhere. Blade of Shared Souls. When it comes into play, it creates a token, and then you can copy one of your other creatures, and then you can re-equip it to something else if you want to change something else into another creature. And I have learned, and this is what I was talking about with the Chief of the Foundry, I used this, the blade, to copy the Chief of the Foundry. The token actually becomes a actual clone of the Chief of the Foundry. So if BRUDICLAD turns that token into, like, all your stuff turns into Chiefs of the Foundry. It's hilarious. And then we got Poppet Stitcher. Cast an instant or sorcery, you create a zombie token with Decayed. But the thing we want here is at the beginning of the upkeep, you flip this over, and all the tokens become 3/3s by default. So it makes our Thopters lose flying, and all the constructs lose their other stuff. But you're not going to have the constructs all the time, and it's kind of nice to have the base power be 3/3s on the Thopters and on the servos and that kind of stuff, because then they just get bigger from there. We also have Mechanized Warfare. If a red or artifact source you control deals damage, it deals that much damage +1. So this actually bolsters the damage of our little 1/1s into 2/1s, essentially. So that's something to bear in mind. And a lot of people miss that. I actually had, I can't remember if I left it in the footage or not, but I had somebody get themselves killed by this because they didn't think it was anything but red. They didn't pay attention that it also hits with artifacts. Phyrexian Metamorph, it's a Phyrexian shapeshifter. It is an artifact, and the cloning ability makes another artifact, so it's kind of just an on-theme clone for the deck for us, and I kind of like having it around. We have Storm the Vault, 5 or more artifacts, you flip it over, and you get a basically better version of Tolarian Academy. I mean, because the Academy can't tap for anything except for blue equal to your artifacts. This one at least can go for any color on the tap side if you need that mana fixing, or your artifacts get blown up. At least it does something for us. And then Forsaken Monument, +2/+2 to colorless creatures. Well, all the servos and Thopters are now bigger. Tap a permanent for colorless, you add an additional colorless. That part really doesn't come into play very often. And whenever you cast a colorless spell, gain 2 life. Now this variation of the deck doesn't have as many colorless spells in it, so that part's not going to gain you as much as the old version I was trying out, but it's still pretty useful. And then we have some board wipes. I added Flame Sweep to the deck. That way it doesn't hit the Thopters. And we can just kind of take out, because Fast Rush decks just kind of was working me with the Saheeli deck. I wanted a way to kind of keep them in check. We still have the Burn Down the House in here. Just blow everything up. And then River's Rebuke, because it's just amazing. Because if this resolves against your opponent, you usually end up winning. And then just the mana base, same as the other deck, except for one addition. I did add a copy of the Mycosynth Gardens in here, because you can pay X and tap it, and it becomes a copy of a non-token artifact you control, which is nice because you can copy stuff like Bomat Cur, you can get a second Nettle Cyst, you can get second copies of like Filigree Attendant, things like that. Just remember, don't try to clone things like Forsaken Monument and stuff like that. I did try to do that. That video didn't make it because I lost that game, and it was a very bad game all around. I was making big mistakes, so I did not put it in the footage. But yeah, I tried to clone a Forsaken Monument. I forgot it was legendary. Oops. But at any rate, so that is the deck. I hope you enjoy it. I will see you after the gameplay. Lonis, the Cryptozoologist. All right. Nope. That ain't much better, but I'm going to keep it for now. I don't know how this is going to play out, because this is actually a remade version of a deck I've been trying to make work. It originally started out as Saheeli Filigree Master, and ended up turning into this because that deck just was not working. I don't know why. Just never got it to go. They're looking at BRUDICLAD now. Alright, we're gonna sack this to draw a card, because I can't hit him with it, so no point in keeping it out. So I could do that and then do that. That would work pretty good. Let's go ahead and unearth it and do Gleeful Demolition on it, because that'll give us 3 Phyrexians to work with. And then those can later be turned into something with BRUDICLAD, which is kind of the reason why I'm running the Gleeful Demolition. There's a tracker. Alright. Drop the mountain, drop... I'll drop the Solemn, because I'm probably gonna do burn down the house sooner than later. Take action, we're gonna get a mountain, since I have 2 islands parked in my hand. And we're just gonna sit back. It gives me plenty of blocking power for now. Because the other alternative is to get Karn Scion of Urza set up, make the construct token, because the best thing you can do with BRUDICLAD is to turn all your tokens into the, I'm fine with that, I'll take a card. Into those constructs that get bigger with all the artifacts that you control, because then they all feed off of each other. Let's see here. What do I want to do with this mess? Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna drop card. We'll make a construct, which I know doesn't make a ton of sense yet. But if they spend their time trying to kill Urza or, you know, do other things, then these all become constructs along with the one that BRUDICLAD will make, making them all 5/5s. And they'll just continue to grow, too. That's the best part. Well, they got a whole pile of stuff to, you know, work off of. What is this? I can't even remember what this freaking card does. Target opponent. Okay, you got my Bomat Courier. Congratulations. I'm glad this deck is, like, super low to the ground. And I think that was my problem with my other variations. Everything was just very big. We'll name Red. Yeah. Not really doing it for me right now. 7/6 is a problem. Do that, do that. Yeah, screw it. It's BRUDICLAD time. And we'll go ahead and make another one. And then, yeah, one of those. Charge! Yeah, you gotta block at least one more now. It was two more, now it's one more. Yeah, you miscounted there. Whoopsie. Okay, so the rebuild is working out a lot better than I thought. Omnath, Locus of All. Alright, let's see how they got theirs built. We did this one a few weeks back, and it did okay. Sure, we'll try this hand. I'm not 100% certain as to, like, what the best plays with this deck are just yet. Let's do the Forsaken Crossroads. We'll set it to blue since we have a double blue card in my hand. We have another island on top. We'll keep it on top. I don't want to mana screw myself in the grand scheme of things. Play the Smelter. We'll go ahead and swing because I don't care. Pay 1 to do it. Okay. Nah. Decline. We're not going to sack the Thopter just at the moment. Because we do have things that feed off of artifacts. I don't need to sack into it just yet. Alright. Let's do Recon Mission. You. Attack with you. I'll take a card, please. I just don't like that you may crap. The whole reason I'm running the card is to draw cards. Come on, give them. Basswood Surge. White? Oh, I was like, they kicked it? I'm like, no, they can't. That's an 8. They took damage off of Painland. My brain wasn't comprehending what the sound effect was for. Okay. So at this point, yes, we're gonna pay. We'll sack the Ornithopter. We'll get a 3/1 off of it. I want 2 cards. Take and ooh, there's Sigh and a Retrofitter. But the chances are good they might have a board wipe here. You know what? Screw it. We'll just go ahead and just drop this for now. And the cool part is I do have the ability to sack a Thopter and make a 4/4. Wow, that's some big stuff. We're going to sack the Thopter. We're going to make a 4/4 out of it. We're going to play this. So that gives us 6 mana plus the Retrofitter. I could bounce the Pelucranos. I'm trying to debate like what I want to do with this, because turning my tokens into stuff isn't going to do me like a ton of good just yet. So I think the play is to channel this, bounce the Pelucranos back to their hand, play the Dragon Spark Reactor, we're going to decline this. We're going to swing with those 2, because those things can kill his Blade Historian. Or their Blade Historian, I should say. Alright. And then I'm going to be mana efficient here. I'm going to use the Gleeful Demolition. I'm going to blow up that to create the 3 goblins. Because we have the BRUDICLAD plan online. Okay, there's Aurelia. I'm okay with her. I mean, I think Soken'Zan Smelter is just gonna bite the bullet here. We don't need to take all that damage. Alright, Retrofitter Foundry. Smash a Thopter, please. Block that thing. Alright. BRUDICLAD. Which also gives that the thing. Next combat. You're my choice. All of you, go! All the 4/4s. Oh, that is beautiful. This is working out much better. I'm impressed so far. Omnath, Locus of Creation. So we've gone down an Omnath level this time. Let's see here. I kind of like this hand. Let's go ahead, just in case we don't have... I'm gonna go get a blue. Just in case we don't have the ability on 4 to drop that, like if we just don't draw any more lands, at least this way I'm getting it out. Shark Typhoon, though, is one of my backup plans. If I can't get like a good token out on the board, I can start making shark tokens and turn my Thopters and stuff into shark tokens eventually. So I have backup. Let's go ahead and do Invasion of Kaladesh. Get our Thopters a-rolling. We're just gonna go ahead and smack the Invasion of Kaladesh. Not too concerned one way or the other. Next turn we can probably drop a 2-counter Hangerback to get it going. That way if they have like a Wrath effect or something like that, we'll at least have some Thopters come out of it. Joint Exploration, you say? Okay. Which makes sense if you're running a landfall variation of Omnath. Let's go ahead and do Experimental Augury. I could have waited on that, but that's alright. I like the Whirler Rogue, actually. Submit 0. Instead of the Hangerback Walker, let's go ahead and do the Whirler Rogue. Because we're going to get the Thopters up front, basically. To try and hit the invasion enough times to break it. And then that also allows us to do the Hangerback a little bit later. Alright. Got that. They're drawing cards. Let's see what else we have going on here. I think the Hangerback is the right play here. We're gonna go 2 at the invasion, 1 at the face. Yep. Alright, and then we'll go ahead. We're gonna do this for 2. 2, not 3. End turn. So now we can go ahead and crew this, which gets bigger with every artifact we control. All right. So right now its power is 4. And I can crew it with the Whirler Rogue because it's not going to go flying through there. They're just looking at the walker like, what does that do? I could play the Sokenzan Smelter too, just to break it. And then I'd get the Thopters off of it, which would make the Aetherwing bigger in combat. What you doing? Do you have a land? Okay. Alright. The bad part is like BRUDICLAD's not a great play next turn because I don't have any of like the good tokens. I just have my Thopters. I don't have any constructs or anything available at the moment. Alright. It's like, what do I do here? I think I'm gonna play Shark Typhoon because I don't have any of my good stuff at the moment. We'll use the Whirler Rogue as the thing, and everybody except for the Hangerback are going in. So that's 8 damage coming through. Win the turn. So if I get like a decent, 3, 4, 5 mana artifact to go off, the Shark Typhoon can make us some good stuff. Okay, so that, no, I don't get that there. I don't get that there either. So that's fine. None of the stuff I have is ETB, so Elish Norn means jack squat to me. You get the mana on the third, and the third time does 1 damage, or 4 damage to an opponent or a planeswalker. Okay. It's been a while since I've messed around with Omnath, so I'm actually kind of surprised that they haven't reverted that card from its alchemy form now that I look at it, because the set rotated, and almost all the other stuff that they've ever done, like alchemy tweaks to, they've actually changed the card back upon rotation. Maja, okay. I mean, that's some pretty good-sized bodies over there. Pass to blockers. Block this one. I'll go ahead and take a couple more Hangerbacks, Thopters off the Hangerback. My turn. Oh, crap. Alright. So BRUDICLAD doesn't do us a ton of good here, other than giving us another artifact to work with. I guess I'll go ahead and play him, because it just gives us something else to work with. We'll turn the 1 into a Thopter, and we'll go ahead and crew this. So then all of the flyers are coming through. Alright, so that puts them on a 1-turn clock. Kill me, wipe, or die. They can do, if they triple landfall, they can do 5, 10, 14, 16, 17, 18. I mean, they could do 20 if they could do a triple landfall this turn. Because they can do, the Akum Hellhound will grow, they can do the 4 damage off of this, and then they can swing with everything. I mean, I would put BRUDICLAD in front of something to try and live, but they could do a ton of damage this turn. But otherwise, I have the Air Force. Okay. That's food tokens. I mean, you can pop both food tokens, go back to 20. Sure. I was a little confused. I'm like, okay, it's just BRUDICLAD. I'm like, so? Because what is this? This would be 7 plus 6. Ooh. Oh. That gives all their stuff haste and +1. Okay, we're dead. Bravo. You got the right thing and took a blocker out to do it. All right. Yeah. I mean, even killing the blocker wasn't even necessary. That alone was enough. Damn. Rona. All right. I have not seen her as a commander yet. Sure. We'll keep this hand. Turn 1 Fabled for a mountain. Because then we can either play the Ornithopter or the Invasion of Kaladesh. Probably the Thopter, though. If only for the fact that we need to have the mana to play some of the more expensive elements that are sitting in our hand right now, like the Ovika. Alright, get mountain. Don't screw up. Grab the island. Alright, we're just going to do the Thopter. If we don't get a land, we do have Expressive Iteration to try to help us dig for the land. I don't like to do that if I don't have to, but it's there. Okay, we drew the land. 4 mana gets us Reconnaissance Mission, or we can just Expressive Iteration right now. I think I like the Expressive Iteration route. Wow, that sucks. Alright, 1 into hand is going to be the Sokenzan Smelter. The 1 into exile is going to be the Surge Engine. And oh wait, I put the wrong thing into exile. Shoot! I screwed that up. It was supposed to be the Surge Engine. It's fine. It's whatever. I was going to play the Surge Engine out of exile. I screwed that up. That was completely my fault. I wasn't reading the text or the prompts correctly. Welcome to my channel where I make misplays. If you haven't been here before, that's what I do, and I end up kicking myself immediately after when I realize what I've done. What does that thing do? Taps, add a blue for only instants and sorceries. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, so we're struggling for mana. We dug 3 deep and did not hit any. We're going to have to do the big score. I'm going to discard the Reconnaissance Mission. It's just not cutting it right now. Okay. We'll play the Forsaken Crossroads because we did go first. So getting this into play tapped now is probably a good idea. We'll set that one to red. Retrofitter Foundry is actually pretty good. Let's keep that up. We're going to pass. I'm not going to decline. We're not going to break the treasures or break the Ornithopter of Paradise because I want to get either Thopters or Constructs online because those treasures can then be turned into those things because it does all tokens. It's just not creature tokens. Plus, this also leaves us... Yeah, if they want to bounce... I'm okay with that. It also allows us to get more affinity for artifacts for the Thought Monitor. Whereas sacking it, we'd lose the 2 affinity. Stern Dismissal. Okay. How's the Rudes? They are mana struggling over there, which is fine. We're going to replay our Ornithopter. I could have played Ovika right there, and that might have been the smarter play. Why they're, struggling for mana. But at the same time, they could have a 2-mana Essence Scatter or something, and then I'm just like, derp. So we're just going to go ahead and pile on through all the stuff. We're going to decline. I mean, basically, they've put us back one turn off of 2 spells. They're lacking any black mana, which is strange. They must have been desperate because they played Seagate as a land. And they played it untapped to boot. That's kind of wild when you think about it. I'm going to keep the Ornithopter up. I could have smashed it, but I was just like, I smell a rat. Let's play the Thought Monitor. This is a counterspell check. 3 blue mana sitting up makes me not want to play BRUDICLAD into it or Ovika. Very good. All right. So now the question is, do I play Invasion or do I play the Monument? I don't have a lot of colorless in my hand, so I think the Invasion is the better play. Now, if they counter this, I'm not heartbroken, but it kind of sucks. Alright, so we have a Thopter that we can sacrifice. So the Smelter this time... Yeah, we're going to auto-pay. We're going to smash a treasure token, turn it into a construct. And I'm going to send the construct at the invasion. If they want to block that and lose Rona, well, then that's just on them. Cast a legendary spell. Okay. Alright, one the turn. So now I have the ability to smash the 1/1 Thopter and turn it into a 4/4 construct, which is really good with BRUDICLAD because then all of our tokens can become 4/4s. So yeah, it just depends on what's going to happen soon because they have 1 mana before they got Rona online. Cast down, you say? Yeah, I mean, it's a construct. I can't do anything with it. Alright, we're going to sacrifice the 1/1 Thopter, make it into a 4/4 construct. That's why Retrofitter's so good in this deck, because we make Thopter tokens off of so many little effects that it's not that hard to just start like, okay, it's a 4/4 now. Oh, are you serious? Okay. Alright, fine. We're going to play Ovika. We're not going to make a smelter token because I don't want to sack either of my things, and I can just hit it with that. So now we have our vehicle to smash them with. We have 4 artifacts. I just need to turn a Thopter into something. Like, if I can smash my Ornithopter of Paradise after I drop BRUDICLAD, that'd be kind of cool. But we do have the Forsaken Monument, too, which would make a bunch of tokens, too, before that. Because it's on cast, so even if they counter it, I get the Phyrexian Goblins, I should say. My turn. Alright. See, they got all that mana up. It's so annoying. Alright, we're just going to cast this. Make them burn that counter magic. Bloody blue players. Alright. I figured it'd get countered, but I still get my Phyrexian Goblins. Smelter's not going to do a thing right now. I don't think. Actually, I have the mana to do it this time. We'll go ahead and do that and smash the treasure token. Alright. So, everybody except for the Smelter, the Ornithopter, yeah, we'll send them all. I should have sent the Aether Wing in with the Smelter activation. That was a mistake. Because it would have done another 4 damage. Yeah, they would have been down to 4 had I done that. That was a mistake. But that's alright. We might not get BRUDICLAD online, but we got a lot of little tokens running around doing their thing. And I think I'm going to smash the Ornithopter and turn it into a 4/4. Depending on what they do here. I mean, they could spend their 5 mana and pay a couple life and flip Rona, but that's not going to save them. And paying 3 life to try to kill Ovika is kind of a dangerous gamble. I mean, you're tapping a blocker here. It's 3 extra mana and 3 life. That's not an optionality. That's a both. I mean, I'm okay with that. You still got to deal with that. I mean, I don't even need the Grand Army here. It's like you're dead. You'd have been at 1 or 2 life had I swung correctly. But oh well, it works. Kenrith the Returned King. Oh boy. Depends on how their mana struggles are as to how this is going to go. Chief of the Foundry is actually not a bad thing for that blade if I can get the chief down first. What is it with people like just chugging down on these freaking removal spells? Like, seriously? We just got done playing the match with like 7 removal spells, and this person just casually is just like lightning strike your combat courier. It's a 1/1 that does nothing else but draw a card, and I have to pay 2 to get that card. Like, really? Like, are we that scared of a 1/1? Well, get more scared. Here comes his cousin. Wow, I am super struggling on stuff right now. Alright, we're going to do the Chief of the Foundry. And we're going to go ahead and unearth this, and I'm going to hit it with the Gleeful Demolition. Because then it'll give me some options to work with later. I'm not swinging Kenrith, or swinging into Kenrith with the Bowmat Courier, though. So right now the plan is Blade of Shared Souls and Urabrask in a Kenrith deck? Wow. Okay. Wow, I can't do that. Let's go ahead and do Blade of Shared Souls. We'll copy the Chief of the Foundry. And I don't need that Pirate's Pillage. Not really. No attacks. We'll sit on this. I like Blade of Shared Souls, and I just haven't had the opportunity to put it in a deck. And I was like, okay, I'm playing an artifact deck, so this actually is kind of fun. And there's actually a few good things I want to screw around with in this. So, but I need better tokens. BRUDICLAD turning these into 2/1s isn't like all that. All right, what is it? It's a germ token. Yeah, that gets me far. I don't want to dump this though, because I can make the Bomat Courier huge. All right, let's just dump the Nettlecyst down, and then let's put it on the Bomat. And I'm swinging with the Bomat. If they want a gang block, I will gladly kill something. Okay, well, that takes care of Urabrask. There's 2 cards hiding under that, so if they decide to try to destroy the Bomat Courier, I do have the staff to pop it, and then I'll lose the pillage. If they try to take the Bomat Courier, I'm killing it. Yeah, you can kiss my butt. Autopay. It's like, what's the holdup here? There's a priority check. Okay. I kind of dig the Brass's bounty. I kind of like the Shark Typhoon too. Let's go ahead and play the Shark Typhoon. Luckily, if they picked something else, I might have just used the Staff of Completion and destroyed my own permanent, because you can do that too. Okay, they brought their Urabrask back. And that's fine. Alternatively here, if we get enough crap on the board, we could make all of our stuff in, because this is a token that is a copy of that. I wonder how that works. Do they all become that if I use BRUDICLAD? Let's do BRUDICLAD. I want to test something on the Blade of Shared Souls. I don't know how this works. Do they become the 2/2s? No, they become the 7/8s. I didn't realize that was going to happen. That's funny. Okay, well, it actually turns the token into the Chief of the Foundry. It becomes a token copy of it, and BRUDICLAD will turn all your stuff into whatever the Blade of Shared Selves is turning it into. Yeah, you needed to block one more, my man. Oops. Damn, but that was actually pretty funny. That's nice to know. Vorinclex. Oh boy. Yikes. Lately, I've been just getting some of the rat nastiest commanders running up against me. If you've watched my Ramos deck that I posted, as I'm recording it, I posted this morning. That was like a who's who of just absolute jerk face commanders. It was kind of crazy, like Joda the Unifier and Maronar, and just it was like, what the crap. If I play that, can't play that. I think I'd rather play this, to be perfectly honest, so I can get the Staff of Completion down into the Surge Engine next turn. So that would give me 2 triggers of that. It would also give me a 3 counter thing here, but if I did this, it would give me 2 things. There's a lot of ways I could play this out. I think I'm going to do my original plan though. I think it's going to be Staff of Completion, because we get the second artifact there anyways, and then I'm going to do the Surge Engine, do it again, and this I'm going to swing. Alright. So they're going to drop... What's that? 1, 2, 3. Not quite enough mana for them to drop Vorinclex yet. He's coming next turn, though, because they can... Even if they don't drop a land, they can second main phase it with the Glorious Sunrise, and then I'm in deep crap at that point. I think... This is a lot of thinking here. I think I'm going to do... If I do that, it gives me 2 treasures, 3 mana, then I can't play anything else. If I play the Sculpting Steel, copying something like the Surge Engine, I could activate the Surge Engine and still swing. I kind of like this plan. I think I'm going to go Sculpting Steel. And I'm going to copy the Staff of Completion because I'm kind of mana hosed at the moment. We're going to activate the Surge Engine. We're also going to activate the incubate. Actually, no, we're not. We're not going to take that damage. Never mind. I can't punch through Gwenna anyways, so it's not worth the damage at the moment. But all these little chips of damage is going to add up really quick here because we gotta punch through Vorinclex's mana lockdowns, or we're gonna get locked out of the game. All right, there's the Ascended Animist, which whatever. All right, they're gonna destroy that, and I'm okay with that. What I need is a Thopter token. Did not get... Well, I'm almost tempted to do that just to get all those triggers. I think I'm gonna sit on that. I'm gonna kill her because that's dangerous to let live. All right, we're gonna end the turn. We're gonna sit on the Spell Swindle because Vorinclex will give us 8 counters if they go to try to lock that in, or if they try to do some other big play. I'm not worried about Tireless Tracker. I'm waiting for the big hit is what I'm waiting on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. They only had 7 mana, even if they were to use that. Okay. But I'm not gonna waste the Spell Swindle on a 3-drop. That's just stupid. Okay, so I still can't do anything with the Spell Swindle, so I'm just gonna attack with the Chromehost Seed Shark. And we're going to end the turn. If they don't do anything, I'm going to turn on the tokens. I think. The nice part about having those tokens is those hold priority so that they don't know that I have the Spell Swindle. Okay, so they have that. They're going to Roiling Regrowth. They'll get a couple more clues. Play the frickin' Vorinclex. I think they're just gonna... Okay. No blocks. It's 12 damage. They're still not playing the Vorinclex, though. That's really irritating. So we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to transform these. I'm going to have to try to push the damage across the plate. Alright. What am I going to do here? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage. I don't think I can push. If I do that... It's still only 3 mana. No, that's 10 damage. None of the stuff has haste. I'm trying to think how to pull this off. Because them giving that stuff trample will kill me next turn. Does this do it? I'm trying to think. My brain, I cannot... decline that. 10. Everybody in. Is this lethal? I think it is. Oh. I wasn't sure how that was going to pan out. I guess I could have turned all of the tokens into the mirrors because then they would have gained a base power of 2, but they still would have had the counters on them. I just didn't think about it at the time. So what did you guys think? I had a lot of fun with this variation. Like, I was getting so tilted and so frustrated with the Saheeli version of this deck that I was almost just not going to do anything with this red-blue deck. And then I was just like, no, I'm going to rebuild this thing. I'm going to make it work. So in the end, this plays out a lot better than that other deck did. It wins way more often, and there's just something fun about turning a bunch of creatures into like the constructs that get bigger, or copying the clones and things like that just makes me laugh so hard and just brings me joy. So with that said, if you have something you think I should have played in here, let me know. If you think I shouldn't be playing something in this deck, let me know. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.